Okay, we are starting now. We are on time. So let me share my screen and we'll get started. Can anyone confirm if my screen is visible?
Yes, I can.
Yes. Okay. So today's agenda is Industry 5.0, the rise of Industry 5.0, and with a little context about Industry 4.0, we'll take a look on what are the key limitations of Industry 4.0, what exactly Industry 4.0, whether it's a hype or it's a rising trend, what are the different key pillars of Industry 5.0, and then question and answer. So we'll start with a quick recap of Industry 4.0 and its limitation, then why the world is now shifting towards Industry 5.0, what Industry 5.0 really means and what it doesn't, the deep dive on the three pillars of Industry 5.0, key technologies that are enabling this transition from 4.0 to 5.0, the strategic roadmap for implementing 5.0, and then followed by a question and answer. So starting with the context, first of all, let's understand what's Industry 4.0. So the very popular definition is Industry 4.0 is known as the fourth industrial revolution, which refers to the integration of digital technologies with manufacturing and industrial processes. Now the key word here is integration of digital technologies. So what we mean by this is Industry 4.0 is made up of nine different technologies, and that is also called as nine pillars. So what are those pillars? So nine pillars of Industry 4.0 are starts with big data analytics, cyber security, augmented reality, additive manufacturing, cloud computing, industrial IoT, horizontal and vertical integration, digital twin, and autonomous robots. So these are nine core pillars or nine technologies that are driving Industry 4.0. So if you can see here on the every bucket, there is a subset mentioned that what exactly that core technology means for Industry 4.0. But again, today's our topic is Industry 5.0. So we'll not spend much time on this slide and we will move forward. So why we are talking about this right now? Why Industry 4.0 matters and why everyone is talking about that? The first is climate crisis. The climate crisis is real and it's no longer future facing, it's present and it's urgent. Now manufacturers are facing pressures for uh, I think someone else is joining. Just a minute. So manufacturers are now facing pressure to decarbonize and adapt the circular practices. A global talent shortage in the manufacturing is reshaping the industrial workforce. As we know, there is a global talent shortage in the manufacturing domain. That's also one of the reason that why Industry 5.0 is taking shape. Aging workforce, we know in the many European countries, there is a aging workforce skill gap that is taking place, and that's one of the reason that it's the time to talk on this burning issue. And supply chain disruptions, that's one of the key reason. Supply chain shocks in the current economic constant. We saw the supply chain taking hit during the COVID-19 pandemic. Stakeholders now demanding sustainability and purpose-driven matrices than just efficiency and then just production. ESG, which is environment, social, and governance matrices, are now quite important ever before. You may have seen every time when the company reports their earnings, especially those who are listed companies in India or across the globe, they have to report these ESG matrices specifically. In fact, the new investment, if any big investor wants to commit some new investment, they will take a look on the ESG matrices. Earlier, which was not the case, but now it is taking more and more prominence than ever before. From automation to augmentation, industry needs to serve people and not to replace them. So these are some of the topics that are ongoing issues in the manufacturing, and that's the reason industry 5.0 is now coming into the discussion. So how it has evaluated the overall evaluation of industry 5.0, it starts with first pre-industrialization. uh, this was the era where manual labor, craftsmanship, and then survival that took shape in the early stage. So it was entirely manual production, and that was driven by the human skills. Then came era of industry 1.0, which we popularly also call as steam power, which revolutionized the production. Eventually it replaced the muscle with the machine. So this was the era of 1784. Then came 1870, which we popularly call as industry 2.0, invention of electricity, launch of assembly line into car auto manufacturing plants, enabled the large scale manufacturing. Then came 1969. This was the period where invention of many electronics and IT area, which brought the programmable controllers, not only PLC but various types of programmable controller and automation that hit to the factories. This was the same time when the invention of PLC took place. The world's first robot was installed in General Motors around this time. So this period was called as Industry 3.0. Then came year 2011. So this was the era where Industry 4.0 was officially announced, and this decade was of smart factories through IoT, AI, and real-time connectivity. And then after 2020, after pandemic, the Industry 5.0 talk started emerging, where the core topic was how technology and humans can collaborate to build sustainable, resilient, and purpose-driven manufacturing. So that's the evolution of Industry 5.0. So what exactly then Industry 4.0 achieved? Before we move into Industry 5.0, let's take a look what exactly Industry 5.0 achieved. First, it enabled the smart factories. It interconnected the factories through IoT system integration. Also, automation has been, quite into the matured stage now with robotics and PLC based automation. Then it also leveraged AI for decision making. It used digital twin for the real time process simulation. Adoption of cloud, adoption of edge computing to handle the scalable data, that also has been quite widely accepted now. Improved efficiency, reduced downtime to cut operational costs. This is one of the important metrics or outcome of Industry 4.0 that has been quite at the maturity stage. And then enhance supply chain visibility and end-to-end traceability. These are some of the areas that has been achieved by Industry 4.0. Then what are the limitations of Industry 4.0? The very first limitation, that human workers were considered secondary to the machines and systems. Globalized supply chain lacked the built-in resilience. Success was quite measured by the productivity and not through the environmental impact. This also means that ROI drove most of the decision in the Industry 4.0 ecosystem. Sustainability was not a core design principle in any of the discussion when it comes to Industry 4.0. Cybersecurity risk grew in the era of Industry 4.0 as more and more machines got interconnected. And Industry 4.0 overall focused much on efficiency rather than cost of adaptability. So these were some of the limitations of Industry 4.0, which has also led to the growing emergence of Industry 5.0. So let's understand now Industry 5.0. Now we understood the Industry 4.0 historical perspective, what Industry 4.0 achieved and what is the limitation. So now let's directly jump into Industry 5.0. So basically what exactly is Industry 5.0? It's a simple definition is it's a human centric approach of putting people back to the heart of industry. It's a shift towards sustainable and regenerative manufacturing model. You would be seeing some new words here like regenerative manufacturing model, circular manufacturing. We will decode this as we follow through this presentation. Industry 5.0's more focus is also on building resilient, adaptive, and shock resistant systems. Industry 5.0 basically complements to Industry 4.0 by adding values of inclusion and responsibility. Success in the Industry 5.0 goes beyond just measuring efficiency matrices like OEE or downtime or ROI. It also takes care of well-being, ethics, and environmental impact of the manufacturing practices. So in a nutshell, Industry 5.0 is a purpose-driven evolution that balances productivity and societal impact. So that's the context of Industry 5.0. So what Industry 5.0 is not? So first, it's just not a new buzzword or a new label for after Industry 4.0. There are some core pillars, there are some global official bodies backing to the Industry 5.0. Even when I started reading about Industry 5.0, I also thought that is it just a hype or is it just a marketing gimmick? But when I went into the details, I also realized that it's not a gimmick or it's not a hype or marketing. There are some evidences, there are some global bodies which has conducted lots of research, and then they have arrived at the formal document, a formal guideline for Industry 5.0 that we will take a look as we move forward. So what Industry 5.0 is not about, it's just not a new buzzword. It's not about replacing human with robotics and automation. It's also not about only focusing efficiency or productivity or output. It's also not limited to digital technologies. Now, if you see, as we compare it with Industry 4.0 and 5.0, in 4.0, we talked always about those 9 pillars of Industry 4.0, right? These were all digital technologies, be it cybersecurity, cloud computing, IoT, or digital twin. Nowhere there was mention about environmental impact. Nowhere there was mention about uh, people impact, right? So as far as Industry 5.0 is concerned, it's not only limited to digital technology. Yes, digital technology is there, but there is a greater portion for societal and societal and environmental impact. It's not only purely driven by ROI. As we spoke earlier, Industry 4.0 was purely driven by matrices like ROI, efficiency, or OEE for that matter, or a downtime. In Industry 4.0, it is still there, but the long term goal is how our manufacturing processes are taking an impact on the sustainability and on the planet. Also, Industry 5.0 is not anti technology, though it talks a lot about people, planet. That doesn't mean that it is an anti technology evolution. Also, it's not a one size fits all model. It requires context specific adoption for the different organization and different industry verticals. We recently conducted one poll on the LinkedIn, and these were the results, like who officially defined Industry 5.0, whether it was World Economic Forum, whether it was European Commission, whether it was German Council or Department of Commerce USA. So the right answer is European Commission. And then why this is the right answer and why not others are true, we will take a look in the subsequent slides. I think one more few participants. Hello, am I audible? Ramtronics Manufacturing LLP. Am I audible to you? Someshwar, am I audible to you?
Yes.
Okay, sure.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So, why EU, European Commission, is the right answer? So, this is the paper which they have published on the European Commission website, and they this is the formal document. So, it's a big PDF. So, I had taken some snapshot from that PDF. So, the Industry 5.0 transformating vision for Europe. So, this is the first time ever document which they published few years before, and this was the first time that it was Europe who came up with this word Industry 5.0. Now, what is their positioning? Official. So, this is the official snapshot from their document where they have made some big claims about Industry 4.0. Like if you see this 1.3, Industry 4.0 is not the right framework to achieve Europe's 2030 goal. So that's a big claim that European Commission is making. And why they are making that claim? There are many reasons. Again, we have that subsequent slides. But if we also quickly take a look on this paragraph, that we believe that industry should be regenerative and restorative by design. So what we mean by regenerative and restorative? Uh, so we have some definition as we move forward, but giving back to the planet the resources that we use, that's the context of the overall document. Sustainability, environmental impact, regenerative manufacturing, circular economy, these are a couple of reasons. That's why, because European Commission also has a goal of becoming carbon neutral for their companies, and that's the reason they have claimed that Industry 4.0 is not the right framework. That's a very big claim. In fact, I was also surprised when I gone through the document. So let's move forward. So what is the EU's official position? Again, some snippets from their document. Industry 4.0 is not the right framework for Europe's 2030 goals. Industry 4.0 paradigm, that is essential technological and centered around emergence of cyber physical objects and offering a promise of enhanced efficiency through digital connectivity and artificial intelligence. That's what they acknowledge, that yes, Industry 4.0 is reasonable, it's good to deploy, it's centered around the cyber physical objects, it's centered around connectivity and artificial intelligence. However, that's a big however, that Industry 4.0 currently convinces not fit for the purpose in the context of current climate crisis and a planetary emergency, nor does it address the deep social tensions. On the contrary, it is structurally aligned with the optimization of business models and economic thinking. And if you read that word, a winner takes it all model, that that is something which they have mentioned, that Industry 4.0 creates monopoly for the companies, and also it creates wealthy inequality. That's the big claim that EU is mentioning in this their research paper. So what is their final take? That Industry 4.0 lacks key design and performance dimension. Now again, this is very important, and in fact, I'm also quite agreed with that. Uh, the negative environmental impact that is currently taking place due to emergence of Industry 4.0 or associated technology, the thought at the time of designing the technology was not there. It was aftermath, like after implementing the technology, then we will think that what impact it may have on the society. So that's one of the reason that EU's official position is that it will be indispensable to make systematic transformation possible and to ensure necessary decoupling of resources and material use from negative environmental and climate and societal impacts. So what are the core dimensions of Industry 5.0? Starts with environmental dimension. So environmental dimension talks about, now we are going deep dive into Industry 5.0. First is environmental dimension, which talks about elimination of using fossil fuel, promoting energy efficiency, using nature-based solutions, then restoring biodiversity. The next dimension is regenerative dimension, which talks about circular economy integration. So this word came in their document many times. We have a separate slide for that. Restorative feedback loop. So in other words, process that improves ecosystem. For example, soil regeneration, soil health regeneration. Then proactive design for sustainability. That means at the beginning of product design itself, the thought has to be there for its environmental impact, be it recycling practices. So what the regenerative dimension talks about is the design has to be proactive for sustainability and it should not be an afterthought. And the next is social dimension, which talks about attention to well-being of worker, the need for social inclusion, adoption of technologies that do not substitute but rather complement the human capabilities. So few slides before we talked about Industry 4.0. Now if you compare both, we'll get an idea that how Industry 4.0 complements to Industry 4.0, because these three dimensions are absolutely missing in Industry 4.0. So what is the vision of Industry 5.0? So vision is, rather than representing a technological leap forward, Industry 5.0 actually nests to the Industry 4.0 approach by providing a broader context. That's very important. By providing regenerative purpose and directionality to the technological transformation so that people, planet, prosperity. That's the keyword, rather than just benefit of shareholders. So these are the official statements from European Commission, uh, and by the time now you might have got the context about Industry 5.0, why we are talking about it now. Now, what about other organization? World Economic Forum or US based, these research institutes. What is their take on the Industry 5.0? So currently, only European Commission officially talks about Industry 5.0 explicitly. But in the world, there are many organizations, be it World Economic Forum or OECD or UNIDO. These are again global organizations. They have not directly talked about Industry 4.0, but they have indirectly echoed to what this Industry 5.0 is talking about, be it sustainability, be it worker well-being, be it human-centered innovation or resilience or carbon emission. So these big organizations are talking on that, but European Commission is the only one who has officially used the word of Industry 4.5. So that's the reason our poll result, the right answer is Industry 5.0. Now, why it matters now? Again, a quick summary. Tech-only strategies proved insufficient during the real-world disruption, which is COVID-19, for example. Environmental and sustainability is now a business which is critical, and it's not a choice. It's now mandatory. We talked about that even investor or auditors, even governments is now questioning to the organization about the environment and sustainability. AI and automation need ethical, human aligned integration and not a blind adoption. Stakeholders are also now demanding industries that serve people, society, and the planet. Resilience and adaptability are more valued than the just speed of scale. Worker well-being, inclusion, and purpose are rising corporate priorities. So from tech-centric to planet human and planet-centric, that's the shift. So if you remember this, then you have fully understood Industry 5.0, how and why the shift is now taking place. Now, a quick comparison of Industry 4.0 and 5.0. In Industry 4.0, primary purpose is technology-driven automation and efficiency. And in Industry 5.0, it's human-centric and sustainable and resilience. Core objective of Industry 4.0 has been maximum production, maximize productivity, reduce cost, reduce downtime, increase ROI, increase profits. In Industry 5.0, balance productivity with the social and environmental impact. Role of technology. In Industry 4.0, it has always has been automate and optimize the operation. In Industry 5.0, it is empower human and provide them support and purpose driven innovation. Human involvement in Industry 4.0 has been automation has displaced to the humans. In Industry 5.0, humans are kept at the center uh, in terms of the implementation of technology. Design philosophy point of view, Industry 4.0 always has been efficiency first or technology led. And when it comes to Industry 5.0, it is purpose first and value led. Sustainability in Industry 4.0, sustainability has been a second consideration or afterthought. But Industry 5.0, the central pillar is the sustainability, which is be it circular economy or climate goals. Industry 4.0 lacks resilience. One of the example is global supply chain disruption during pandemic. Industry 5.0 aims for adaptive and to build a shock resistive system. Value matrices point of view, Industry 4.0 talks about throughput, ROI, cost reduction. On the Industry 5.0 side, it talks about well-being, sustainability, ROI, long-term societal values, and impact on the human. As far as ethics and governance is concerned, Industry 4.0 is often reactive, be it data privacy or job loss. But in 5.0, it is the center of all we do in Industry 5.0, be it proactive ethical frameworks, for example, explainable AI or equality. So that's is the center of the Industry 5.0. Business ecosystem point of view, in Industry 4.0, it was efficiency first, tech led, and in Industry 5.0, it is open, regenerative, and inclusive ecosystem. Regulatory influence has been very low, loosely guided in Industry 4.0. That means a regulator never question that where the company is or what they are doing when it comes to Industry 4.0. But when it comes to 5.0, it is policy guided and aligned with the societal and environmental goals. Now, three pillars of Industry 5.0. We talked about nine pillars of Industry 4.0. Now, let's talk about three pillars of Industry 4.0. First pillar, human centric. Second pillar, sustainable. And third pillar, resilient. That's it. If you remember these three words and understand thoroughly, you have got the gist of Industry 5.0. So the whole Industry 5.0 is based, the concept is based on these three pillars: human centric, sustainable, and resilient. So what exactly mean human centric? We have been talking about human centric, but what exactly mean human centric? So it means technology becomes a collaborator and not a replacement for human. AI and automation are designed to enhance human decision making and not to replace them. Cobots is one of the good example that cobots working alongside the operators. Upskilling and reskilling are prioritized for the future workforce. And for example, upskill and reskilling is not only for the white collar people, upskilling and reskilling for the even blue collar employees as well. Creativity, intuition, human judgments are irreplaceable. And then jobs are redesigned for to be more meaningful and less repetitive. So that means Industry 5.0 human centricity pillar. And also human machine synergy drives the innovation and not just automation. So what are the example? We talked about the theory. Now what exactly it means? Now human centricity example point of view. So that's one of the example from BMW, where ergonomics, workflow, using the cobots or using AR VR tools to train the workers efficiently, to enhance their skill, reducing their onboard time. Assembly line, using the cobots on the assembly line so that human and machine can collaborate. So these are some of the examples of the human centricity. Now, cobot and robot, we have been talking a lot about that. So let's take a quick look on the difference. So robots operate autonomously and cobots are designed to work alongside the humans. Robots prioritize speed, precision, and payload capacity. Cobot focus on safety, adaptability, and ease of use. Robots, many times it requires special programming, special environment, fence environment. It also requires more space to run. Cobots, on the contrary, are smaller, requires few sensors to detect the human proximity. Robots are used for very high speed and high volume operation, and cobots are kind used for repetitive and assisted task environment. So again, human and in the loop example point of view, we talked about cobot. So this is one of the video from the universal robot where PSA implemented this cobot which goes beneath the car for the screwing operation. So that's just one example, but like that there are many examples where industry 5.0 encourages deployment of cobots so that human and machine can work together. So circular economy, net zero, and regenerative manufacturing. So what does that mean? Shift from linear to circular models. So that means reduce, reuse, and recycle at scale. Design products for the minimal environmental footprint. Optimize the energy with the use of smart grid and AI-driven efficiency. Use sustainable materials in the design stage itself so that we aim to reduce the rate of recycle or the landfill. Enable closed loop supply chain, move beyond sustainability and towards regenerative design, so which is giving back more than you take. So we have one good example of regenerative manufacturing as we move forward. Leverage AI and digital twin to track emission and metal flow in real time. Adapt a modular product design to extend the life cycle and enable ease of repair or reuse. So that's the second pillar of Industry 5.0, which is sustainability. So we have been talking a lot about circular manufacturing. So let's take a quick look. What is that? So circular economy has main four pillars. First is design products for reuse, remanufacture, and recycle from the start. At the beginning of product design itself, we will the this encourages that you take a thought at the design stage itself and not as an afterthought. Adopt bio-based, recycled, or low-impact raw materials. Turn manufacturing waste into input for other manufacturing processes or industries. Shift from single-use to reusable packaging or materials. And last, use modular components to simplify repair, upgrade, and disassembly. These are some of the, there are more than this as well, this also, but there are some high level principles of circular manufacturing. Some examples. We saw what circular manufacturing is. Now, is anyone doing it? Yes, there are companies who are doing it. Like Strider Electric, they have deployed. Unilever, they have deployed. IKEA, they have also moved towards circular furniture through different programs, be it buyback, be it reuse program, investing into regenerative forestry. Unilever also has introduced plastic-free packaging, uh, circular material loop. Schneider also has adopted this circular economy practices. So there are some news that I was tracking about this. You can see Unilever also has mentioned about their website about this circular economy and how exactly they are doing. Schneider Electric recently won one of the award, world's most sustainable corporation for the second time. IKEA, they also have published their circular manufacturing agenda. So these are some of the examples of circular manufacturing. Now, the last is resilience. We talked about now first two pillars. Now the third pillar is resilience. So what exactly resilience means in manufacturing? First is strengthening the supply chain. So in terms of disruption, the factory is impacted less or minimal. So first step is strengthening the supply chain through the local sourcing and distributed production using edge computing for faster and autonomous decision making. Build system redundancy to reduce downtime and operational risk. Prioritize cybersecurity to protect from digital threats. And ensure digital sovereignty to control over data and platform. So, for example, if there is a manufacturing facility in a specific country, then Industry 5.0 encourages for the digital sovereignty. So, who controls that data? So, it has to be ideally the individual entity who is manufacturing in that particular domain. Design flexible system that adapt quickly to the market shock and disruption. Minimize global interdependencies by decentralizing manufacturing and logistics. So that's the resilience dimension of Industry 5.0. Now some examples. Bosch has recently adapted multi-supplier strategy as a part of Industry 5.0 resilience. Siemens has also deployed edge computing. Tata Steel Europe has deployed resilient logistics strategy by using real-time data visibility across the entire value chain. Also, they are piloting localized steel processing hub to reduce the transport dependency. Toyota is already known for its multi-tier supplier risk mapping and flexible production system. It's also called as a G-CODA. It allows manual intervention during automated processes to prevent the defects and ensure the continuity. So that's some of the example of resilience pillar of Industry 5.0. We talked about circular manufacturing. Now let's talk about regenerative manufacturing and how exactly both are different. So circular manufacturing aims to eliminate waste and keep materials in use as long as possible. Regenerative manufacturing, it talks about restoring, renewing, and enhancing natural and social systems. The core objective of circular manufacturing is material efficiency and product life cycle extension. On the other side, regenerative manufacturing, it talks about positive environmental and social impact beyond zero waste. Approach in the circular manufacturing is reduce, reuse, recycle, and remanufacture. In the regenerative, it talks about design system that actively regenerate ecosystem and communities. Outcome in circular manufacturing is closed loop material and product life cycle. In the regenerative, it is net positive impact. One example of circular, for example, using recycled aluminum to make new parts. And in the regenerative, manufacturing processes that clean water, sequester carbon, and replenish the natural resources. So circular manufacturing talks about do less harm, and regenerative manufacturing talks about do more good. So both kind of complements to each other if you take a look on these examples. So we are into now last section, which is technology enablers. We talked about what is Industry 4.0, what is 5.0, what are the dimensions and the examples. Now, which technologies can be used to enable Industry 5.0 or technology enablers? So AI with purpose, but it has to be a human AI synergy. AI is used to support and not to replace human decision making at the shop floor. Human remains in control and AI act as an intelligent assistant. Explainable AI, which build the trust through transparency and clarity. AI, which is aligned to the ethical goal and not just efficiency metrics. Worker to use AI insights to enhance quality, safety, and creativity. Real-time analytics empower faster, smarter responses for the variability. AI adoption, which is guided by fairness accountability, and inclusivity. So AI is one of the key technology that enables Industry 5.0, but with the human plus AI synergy at the shop floor. Digital twin is one of the key technology that can be used in Industry 5.0. For example, real time, moving beyond simulation, tracking the real time data, tracking the real time data, then enabling data driven decision making while also optimizing the resource efficiency, supporting to the circular economy, then empowering to the decision maker with the data driven insight for the sustainable innovation, integrating AI to create adaptive system that respond to environmental data, and designing the system which becomes bridge between physical and digital world for ethical and efficient industrial design. So digital twin is one of the technology which enables industry 5.0. Additive manufacturing, very important technology for industry 4.0. How it can enhance industry 5.0 deployment, enable highly customized products without cost of retooling, generate minimal waste. We talked about this, right? Reducing waste is one of the key pillar of industry 5.0. So additive manufacturing can be a great aid for that, which generates the minimum waste by only using the material needed layer by layer, supporting local on-demand production, reducing logistic and carbon emission, empowering design freedom and creating creativity for personalized solution, small batch production for high precision components, promoting circularity through easier recycling and part reuse, decentralized manufacturing. So these are some of the areas how additive manufacturing can be a great enabler for industry 5.0. How industry 5.0 looks in practice. Start with cobots. Cobots working alongside human in the safe and adaptive assembly zone. Now here, this slide, you can imagine how exactly the factory will look like. Imagine industry 5.0 is deployed, how the factory will look like. Cobots are deployed along with the humans. AI systems suggesting real-time improvements while humans are keeping it in control. Additive manufacturing enabling the customized small batch production on demand. Closed loop material system ensure near zero waste and recyclability. This is very important, that near zero waste or no waste, and whatever waste has to be recyclable. That's the key pillar. Sensor, different types of sensor on the shop floor that are tracking energy, emission, water use, and feeding to the sustainability dashboards. Edge computing, which is handling local decision making, worker well-being. Remember, we talked about Industry 4.0. If you take a look, no part of this was considered into Industry 4.0 because it was bunch of different technology together. But Industry 4.0 specifically talks about worker well-being, prioritize how through the ergonomic stations, variables, and flexible shifts. So that's how the Industry 4.0 will look like in the practice. Now, how to implement Industry 5.0. So what are the building blocks? So building blocks is first of all mindset shift. Mindset shift from automation first to purpose driven innovation. Designing for circularity, regenerative value chain from the start. Now again, this is not a 1% change, right? So it could be either bottom to top or top to bottom, but a great awareness is required for this. For example, design for circularity. So right from the design team to the production team, everyone has to have that mindset that yes, we want to have a purpose driven innovation for the sustainability. Engage into cross functional team, different types of team, operations, IT, HR, ESG, early in the innovation stage, early in the beginning of the journey, and not in the later, because once you already start, then there is no reverse gear. Integrate real-time data for visibility, invest into human-machine collaboration through AR, VR, cobots, build digital resilience through cybersecurity, data, ownership, and ethical AI, prioritize upskilling and reskilling of not only white collar but blue collar employees as well to empower them. Start small, pilot smart, and flexible micro factories for sustainable production. So these are the building blocks of adoption of Industry 5.0. KPIs. We talked about KPI in Industry 4.0. Now, what are the KPIs of Industry 5.0 then? The key KPIs are employee well-being, tracking their job satisfaction index, safety index, work-life balances, ESG matrices, monitor environmental impact, carbon footprint of that specific factory, social responsibility, resilience index, measuring the adaptability to disruption. Remember how the supply chain got disrupted during the pandemic. So that means that it was a lack of resilience. So Industry 4.0 prioritize the resilience. So how, measuring that circularity score, how much of material is being reused into manufacturing, how much waste we are reducing. Roadmap. So now we are at the last slide. What is the roadmap for Industry 4.0 to 5.0? First is the factory has to be digitally enabled, IoT, cloud, automation, data collection, all are implemented. Intelligent and automated. AI, robotics, predictive systems are there to optimize efficiency and reduce downtime. Then augmented and human in loop. Cobots, AR, VR, decision support system are there for empowering to the human workers. Sustainability and circularity. We talked a lot about this during our presentation that operations are designed or redesigned for the low carbon emission, low waste, low carbon footprint, and life cycle impact. Resilient and adaptive. We talked about this. System are flexible, secure, and responsive to any kind of disruption, or they are redundant in other ways. And last but not least, it's human centric and purpose driven, not only profit driven. The entire supply chain, entire manufacturing value chain also has to think and talk about planet, technology which serves people and planet, and the success is measured by the impact and not just profit or ROI. So that's how it will open the door for Industry 5.0. So that's the kind of roadmap for Industry 5.0. So yeah, so that was the last slide. So thank you everyone for joining. So any questions you have, I'm happy to answer. We'll wait for some time. Uh,
Yeah, Prasad sir. I have one
yes,
question
yes,
regarding. So, what are the main challenges to adoption of Industry 5.0?
yes. Yeah, good question. So one of the key challenge that I see is uh, right from the design stage. Like if you see the value chain, for example, any product, let's take an example of this mobile charging, right? For Android mobile, for many years, right, the Apple mobile charging port and the Android was different. It was just last year that everyone got agreed and moved to common port. So why it took that much time, right? It is because of one different purposes, right? uh, Thinking in silos, right? Or thinking like profit first and then environmental impact later. These are some of the reasons, once the decision is made. So that's why during the presentation, if you see, it talks about involve to the different stakeholders right at the beginning of the process and not later, because once your product is designed and it is out, later it is very difficult to reverse that. Let me take you to that slide, which talks about, yes, this one. So one of the challenge to answer your question, mindset. correct? Mindset from automation first to the purpose driven innovation. Now I think, because in a company, there are various department, everyone thinks, in their own way. So I feel one of the challenges, syncing everyone on the same page, that yes, whatever we do has to be purpose driven, whatever we do has to be sustainable, whatever we do, for example, any product that we are designing, take an example of mobile, or take an example of any electronic equipment. How many companies think that, what is the recycle of this particular product, or is there any way that I can reduce the environmental impact of this product when this product is going to get expired, correct? So that's the reason, in fact, in industry 5.0, that white paper I was talking about, they have talked about role of government also in this. So I feel in future, government, or this big investor will start questioning to the companies. Let's say you are an investor, you have millions of dollars and you want to invest in a company. So before doing that, you would be asking question that what is your ESG matrices, how your manufacturing process are sustainable, what is your policy for recycling, what is your policy for employee well-being, right? So right now, mindset shift is one of the challenge that I see, because we have already went far ahead in industry 4.0, Someshwar, right? Companies have already invested millions of billions of dollars in this technology, and now they are waiting for ROI. Yes, many companies has got ROI as well, no doubt about that. But whether this will change overnight, I don't think so. It will take some time, and definitely, be it in the environment of regulatory authorities, regulatory companies, or government, or any bodies in future, or like investor who is ready to invest, and he start questioning, then I feel this mindset shift will start coming.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes. So I think a few more member also has joined. Ramtronics Manufacturing. Hello. Can you hear me? Well, can you your good name, please? I think am I audible?
Yes, sir.
I think he's in mute. Okay. Hi Amol.
So
I think
similar,
yes, yes. Go ahead. Go ahead, Sumesh.
similar, sir. Question one.
Yes.
I just watched your slide in that presentation during time. So
Yes.
industry 4.0 is major player like Amazon and Google, like, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Correct.
they are the good influencer in manufacturing,
Correct.
as
Correct.
as you mentioned, like they are creating some monopoly as
Mm-hmm.
in industry 4.0.
Yes. 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 Yes.
So it is like it is the same. What is the potential? I'm asking, correlating the question is in the 5.0. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so what is the potential risk in monopoly in 5.0 as well?
Exactly. No, very good point. In fact, this Industry 5.0 European Commission, in their document, they have talked about this monopoly, that because Industry 9 4.8 only talk about profits, or integration of couple of digital technologies together. That's why there is a risk of monopoly. Yeah, correct. Now in Industry 5.0, if you see the building blocks, correct, sustainability, or well-being of workers, well-being of peoples, uh, when these things comes together, there is very less likelihood of monopoly. That's what my personal opinion is, because industry 4.0 technologies are near maturity, as far as only big companies are concerned. I'm not talking about small scale organization, but for big companies, it is near maturity. In fact, I am of opinion that any company who has not yet use industry 4.0, they have a good opportunity, right, to stay ahead in the race, correct? So as far as monopoly is concerned, I don't think there will be a monopoly kind of situation, because here regulatory authorities are coming into picture. Imagine there is a X country, right? And there is a Y company, and the X country, has some certification. You know ISO certification, correct? Which
Yes.
company proudly put on their walls. So think in that way, that in future, looking at the pollution, looking at the carbon emission, if some company starts, uh, putting this interlock, that this much of water you have to recycle, this much of metal you have to recycle, or this much of, maybe soil health, for example, it's a chemical factory, you're spoiling to the, land and the soil health. So you have to take care of that, or you have to dispose that, with the system, else you will not get the further clearances, or you will not get the good score for your factory. And that not having good score may reduce your future investment, correct? So I think that's one of the, unless companies start doing that from by themselves, isn't it? So to answer your question, I don't think so there will be, any immediate monopoly in this. But yeah, Europe has already, started seriously thinking about this. When I was doing research on this particular topic, not much talk, has been happening. Many people, many companies still think it's an hype. In fact, I was also in that camp. I was also thinking that it's an hype. But when I got into the details, I realized that no, it's not an hype. There is some certain level of, element that are missing in Industry 4.0, and Industry 5.0 is taking care. And you know what? Why some countries don't accept? uh, it's, company to country to country, conflicts as well, correct? Because it's a trend. Like Industry 4.0 started by Germany, right? So till now the credit goes to Germany. So for other countries to adapt, like they would want their country to always at the forefront. So they may come with something new or something different, especially in this digital era, right? But as far as Europe is concerned, they have already formally, released many documents. World Economic Forum, which is one of the global institute, I also saw in their website, they are not directly reference to Industry 4.0, but they are also talking about this, that think about sustainability, think about remanufacturing, think about taking employee well-being, right? Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. Yes, Amol, you were saying something.
Yes.
Yes.
Hello, Prasad sir.
Hello.
Hello. So, I want to understand that what will be the cybersecurity enhancements or requirements that will be more or will be emerging for Industry 5.0. So,
Yes.
I mean, in Industry 4.2, we are seeing that OT cybersecurity and this control system cybersecurity is taking place all across the globe.
Correct.
So while taking adopting new things, though it's for the people, process, and employee well-being, Industry 5.2 focusing more on that. But according to that, similarly, I think that more and more technology will also integrate on the shop floors. Okay, so how we should prepare ourselves for that convergence, and what will be cybersecurity enhancements, and for the challenges in that.
Yes.
Is it a right question or
Yeah, yeah,
how?
it's a good question. Yeah, it's a right question. Now, when I was going through the document,
Mm-hmm.
one word that came repeatedly, Amol, in their
Mm-hmm.
document, which I have listed here: build a digital resilience through cyber security, data ownership. That word, or data sovereignty, that word came often in the document. So data sovereignty, because right now if you see, uh, let's say if there is a country X, or let's say India, and there are some companies, right? And then we don't know that, where the data resides, correct?
Right.
So who owns that data? So that's the data sovereignty. Till now every country has their own policies, every company has their own rules and
Mm-hmm.
practices. But Industry 4.5.0 talks about formalizing this, and they talk about this as a digital sovereignty. So that means wherever the manufacturing practices are happening, there should be the ownership of data.
Okay.
So okay, so accordingly the OT cyber security and practices will take place. So that's the crux of that. So for example, currently, let's say your entire infrastructure in India, right,
Mm-hmm.
for
Mm-hmm.
one of the manufacturing company, right,
Uh-huh.
but the entire data of IT, OT is residing outside India, correct?
Right, right,
Then
right.
the entire framework will change, correct? Tomorrow, if any auditor comes and asks, correct, what is your, and let's say you are going to get scores for Industry 5.0 as an
Mm-hmm.
auditor, and the external auditor will ask you, Amol, that
Mm-hmm.
where your data is residing,
Mm-hmm.
correct? So as far as Industry 5.0 is concerned, they are of a opinion that wherever the data birth is taking place, there the data has to reside, correct?
Okay. Okay.
So once this becomes formalized, imagine right now we are in 2025. Imagine it is 2035, correct?
Uh-huh.
So
Uh-huh.
that time this will take prominence because 10 years before no country thought about this, right?
Right.
In fact, few months before there was a big discussion about Indian government with some of, I think it was Google or Meta, I'm not sure, that the data center has to be in India if you want to do
Right,
business
right.
in India. There were a lot of legal battles on this topic, correct?
You're
So
right.
this point will take prominence like never before from this year, or this decade. uh,
Mm-hmm.
Accordingly, the cybersecurity framework will continue to change because if the data is residing in the particular domain, then definitely the
Mm-hmm.
framework has to be different for that.
Right. That's why I'm seeing lots of news that data centers infrastructure will means grow exponentially in India.
Correct,
I
correct,
guess that might be the reason. And
correct.
another thing is that from cybersecurity perspective, when I was working with one of the German ink manufacturer, I used to look at their infrastructure, IT infrastructure and connectivity across India, so and Asia. Okay, so at that time, we were means integrating our Zscaler for cloud security. Okay, that was internet access. Okay, but our China and that was a global integration.
Hmm.
But the China manufacturing plant and China offices were not being having will not be having that Zscaler connectivity.
Hmm.
Reason is that because the China has a rule that if any data is passing through China, yeah, or moving means through this our infrastructure, then we should have access of that. That's a mandate. That's a legal mandate.
Correct.
But from the security perspective, the Zscaler didn't means agree with that. Okay,
Hmm.
so that's why they didn't set up the any data center in China.
Correct,
Right now, also there is means no service in China. So
correct,
previously it was like that. I don't know. That might be a big
correct,
change or
correct,
not.
correct.
So it's like
Good point, Amol. Yeah, definitely. So this point will take much prominence from
mhm.
now. Good. Yeah, thank you then. I think we are on time. Thank you so much, team, for joining on this call. And if you have any question, feel free to send me a message on LinkedIn or any other way, and we'll be happy to talk. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks so
Thank
much.
you. Bye bye. Thank
Bye
you.
bye.